When conflict breaks out across the world, what stories are we told? And who decides how they're framed? My research explores these very questions by analyzing media coverage of the 2023 Sudanese Civil War through a peace journalism and war journalism lens. Western media plays a major role in shaping public understanding of international conflicts. Yet the way they report, often from afar, can reinforce biases or incomplete narratives. This phenomenon is known as parachute journalism. My research study investigates how parachute journalism influences whether coverage takes a war journalism or peace journalism approach, and what that means for the broader perception of Africa and its conflicts. Specifically, I asked, does the use of parachute journalism in the reporting of the 2023 Sudan Civil War convey peace journalism or war journalism? To explore this, I conducted a directed content analysis on 30 articles, 10 each from CNN, The New York Times, and Fox News, respectively. I analyzed how journalists framed conflict, looking for patterns of war journalism, peace journalism, or a blend of both. Importantly, rather than labeling every article simply war or peace journalism, I studied how often specific frames appeared within each article, offering a more nuanced perspective through highlighting key textual references of war or peace journalism. For context, war journalism focuses on violence, victory, and enemy portrayals. Peace journalism, by contrast, seeks to uncover root causes, amplify voices of ordinary people, and propose solutions. Peace journalism is proposed as an alternative to the typical narrative that is brought forth through war journalism. Understanding this distinction is critical because it shapes whether readers view conflicts as inevitable tribal chaos or as human crises rooted in political and historical realities. Across all three news media outlets, war journalism frames were far more common. In CNN, war journalism was set at 57.6%. In the New York Times, war journalism was apparent 53.2% of the time. And lastly, in Fox News, war journalism was conveyed 70.3% of the time. These patterns suggest that Western media or U.S. media coverage of the Sudanese conflict lean heavily into violent, sensationalist narratives, whether intentionally or unintentionally. The headlines and excerpts often emphasized battle statistics, military maneuvers, and graphic violence. Sudanese civilians were portrayed largely as victims, rarely as agents with their own perspectives or solutions. This reinforces historic stereotypes of African conflicts as, quote, tribal, chaotic, and hopeless, a portrayal long critiqued in post-colonial media studies. Moreover, due to the nature of parachute journalism, reporters often relied on official government or military sources rather than grassroots voices. In fact, most of the articles mentioned voices and quotes from diplomats or known political representatives. However, my study has limitations. In my study, I could not directly compare parachute journalism articles with non-parachute journalism articles because of the predominance of the former. I also recognize that categorizing articles by outlet introduces potential bias, as individual journalists and individual news organizations may vary widely. Nonetheless, these patterns are significant and are worth reflecting on in future studies. In conclusion, how stories are told matters. When conflict coverage emphasizes violence over humanity, it risks flattening complex realities and perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Recognizing these patterns invites us to demand more responsible and ethical journalism. Journalism that not only informs, but humanizes. Because behind every headline is a human story waiting to be heard.